Who would have ever thought that a family business started in Buffalo, New York would make baseball hats that created a new era?
You see people wearing the hat backwards and it's got the MLB logo, and it's just the one that everyone's wanting to wear.
The hat sits on top of your crown, which represents who you are, like your embodiment.
They represented their cities, they represented their towns, they represented the things that they were into.
The first hat I ever got, for sure, was a red Estilo hat. This is me showing that pride and love about the city that raised me.
It's just such a great thing to be able to say, hey, this is who I'm part of. I feel like I'm part of the team when I put this hat on.
We know it's new era, but it's.
New Era was started in 1920 by my great-grandfather Earhart, who actually worked for a company in Buffalo. It was Miller Brother Cap, and they were haberdashers. They made dress caps that went with your suit, whether that was a fedora or a paperboy or a Gatsby or something like that. So he went out on his own in 1919, started New Era in 1920, with 15 people and a loan from his aunt. In the beginning, it was all about continuing to make dress caps. And as that fell out of fashion in the 30s, and my grandfather started working for the company, they had a big debate about whether, where they were going to go, what business they were going to get into. And my grandfather said, we should get into the baseball cap business because everybody plays baseball, it never falls out of fashion, everyone's going to always wear baseball caps. We can make baseball caps for baseball players, and that can be our business. And in 1934, we started with the Cleveland Indians.
From the start of New Era making hats goes way back to 1920. It's quality materials, it's having the right people in your line making these hats and taking pride in them. It's a strange business model because our products last forever. Making these hats is important and the quality of it comes to it.
Harold's vision was, let's develop a cap so when the team is standing there, they all look uniform. I remember he used to tell me, we want baseball players to look like as if they were a bunch of firemen lined up or police officers lined up. The uniform was really a uniform, and when it came to the cap, every single player looked exactly the same. That was the birth of the 59FIFTY back in the mid-50s, 1954, I think.
So the 59FIFTY, when it became the official cap for the MLB, was 1993, but at one point that it started way before that, which was, there's a sense of pride behind that, just making the hats for those players over all those years.
We sold baseball caps to baseball teams for baseball players. It was as simple as that. And it wasn't until, I think probably late 70s into the 80s when the whole licensing thing took off, with consumer demand. And it was in 1993 that we signed the first exclusive deal for global rights for all the product that the players wear on the field. We were the exclusive supplier and also the exclusive supplier for consumer market around the world.
Every hat has its own identity. Every city got its own identity. Some cities have a bigger identity with certain hats. It's more universal, more global. You don't have to be from that specific city to wear a certain hat, but it's your identification card.
It's bigger than baseball. You don't have to necessarily be a fan of that team or be immersed in baseball and know what's going on, but it's more of a, this is where I'm from, this is where I grew up, and this is me showing that pride and love about the city that raised me.
It's this symbolism, right, where no matter where I'm at in the world, if I have my Yankee cap on, you know exactly where I'm from and the type of energy that I'm stepping with.
So I think anytime someone puts a new era cap on, it's pretty significant. I think you sort of identify yourself with your team, what the fan base identifies with, and it's always been something that was a big honor for me to be able to put on a new era cap because it made me feel like, hey, this is being in the big leagues, especially when I was in my playing days.
For me, the baseball hat it's the one, it's just the hat that everyone wants to wear. Whenever you look for a hat that's fitted, you don't really see anyone wearing the fitted hat that doesn't have kind of a baseball logo on it, right? That you see a lot of people wearing Phillies hats. You see a lot of people wearing, where I grew up in Cincinnati Reds hats. Whenever you look around and you don't see a snap on the back, and all you do is, you see people wearing the hat backwards, and it's got the MLB logo, and it's got the New Era logo on it. That it's just the one that everyone's wanting to wear. I
personally think the gold sticker on the hat is what sets New Era apart. It was, this is our shit. And this is where you're gonna see your size, and this is how you're gonna know you have the most official. I mean, it's gold. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, this is the standard. This is what, if you're wearing something else, it don't make sense.
When I first started to buy New Era hats, and it had like that gold foil sticker, which is a thing, which I kept that sticker on the whole time, and a lot of people did. But that experience was so cool. I would go into the store, I would see a hat that I want, and I'll tell the clerk, listen, I want that one right there, and they'll pull out the whole rack and they'll kind of like shuffle through it. And I felt like that shuffle was so cool. Like, I had a certain sound to it. There was a certain energy that the clerk like shuffled the hats with, and they'll pull your size out and drop it on the counter. And then you take and you open it up, you check it out, make sure the brim is crispy white, and you put it on your head, you try it on, you find the mirror, you look at it, make sure it fits the right way. And sometimes it may not fit right, you may need a size up or a size down, but again, like that whole experience was like super cool for me.
The baseball hat, it is the only cap that's universal.
New Era was at the top of the game in sports headwear, but their next move would change the playing field.
I said, damn, I need a red Yankee hat, but it's almost sacrilegious. Red, we don't like Boston. So, the Boston Red Sox. I wanted to hook up my starter jacket. So I called my guy in New Era. I said, I need a red Yankee hat fitted. And even we were on the phone, this before FaceTime, I could tell he was looking at me like I had three heads.
Spike called me prior to the 1996 World Series, and literally receptionist called into my office and said, Spike Lee's on the phone for you. And I was like, yeah, whatever, sure. I figured it was one of my friends, playing a joke on me. But sure enough, I answer the phone, he's like, Chris? I'm like, yeah. He's like, it's Spike. I'm like, all right. He's like, can you make me a red Yankee cap? And I was like, I can, but why? He's like, because I'm going to wear it for the World Series. I'm going to get a red Yankee jacket. I'm going to get a red Yankee cap. I'm like, well, I can make you all different colors. He's like, no. I don't want any other colors. He's like, I want red, and that's what I'm going to wear. And I was like, but why? And he said, because no one else will be wearing it.
Game 3, we're down 0-2. Lose the first two in Yankee Stadium. Now, people ask me going to Atlanta. I said, hell yeah, I'm going to Atlanta. With this hat.
And we're in Atlanta, we're at the World Series, and all of a sudden we see him coming down the steps, and he's got this red hat on, and we're really ticked off because we think it's a Braves hat because it's red.
I'm the only one in the world that has this hat. Games, the rest of the series. I'm the only one in the world that had, thank you, George Steinbrenner, and New Era. Only one. That's where the world changed.
And that was actually the beginning. And that was, we had a lot of like these little tiny boutique accounts in New York City. After they saw that, they started, getting hold of our salespeople saying, we need red Yankee caps, we need red Yankee caps. And that actually, that was the beginning of like, you think about that back in '96, that was the beginning of our, of what our lifestyle business is right now.
The success of New Era in the sports realm helped them gain entrance worldwide in many cultures.
The Yankee fitted, I would say, is the most iconic fitted of all time ever in the world. For me growing up, I wouldn't leave home to go on like a bike trip without it.
Globally, a lot of people wear a New York Yankees hat not because they like the Yankees, because they like Americana. They want to be what New York City represents, that type of thing.
You go all over the world, you're going to see this interlocking N and Y. People never heard of baseball.
A lot of people wanted to be like us.
I'm English, so I was born and raised in London. So you go into a record store, that's the only way, the only time that you're going to see what's coming over from America. And at the time, it was a very exciting period of hip hop just hitting into Europe and particularly London. So you walk into a record store and I'm buying my ska music, and then you see a hip hop album you've never seen before. It's the first image you see of those artists, and suddenly they're wearing this cap, and I've never seen anything like it before. The front of it's really high. It's a really unique silhouette. As I say, never been seen before. So then you have to find out what it is. You start talking to people, putting the word out there, and people start talking about a 59FIFTY and a gold sticker on the visor. And you know what? You go out, you find where you can buy one, you buy one, and there it is. There's history right there. It's with me for the rest of my life.
When New Era started to grow in Mexico, you couldn't get a 59FIFTY cap that easily. The issue was availability. So we have grown the brand in Mexico a lot. Now we have 150 stores in Mexico. I've been through many parts of the world thanks to New Era, and has given the opportunity to understand how the culture of each country sees the 59FIFTY. I think the 59FIFTY changed the headwear culture around the world.
New Era in hip hop is like one and the same. It's been, for me at least, it's been synonymous with the culture. Like I said before, I started wearing my hat forward because of Shine, and I had the really big hats like I guess like everyone else did, but for me it's always been that.
You know, I got introduced to New Era in hip hop culture, you know, for the 99, 2000s, from the Cash Money days, and how they would always have their fitteds with a sticker on. And that was like my #1 thing. I was like, I want to be like Wayne, or I want to be like Birdman, and I just really, really understood that culture. And then, you know, from seeing that, obviously, to where we're at now, it's a staple.
A lot of our favorite rappers express themselves and show where they're from by wearing New Era fitted caps, whether it was Jay being in New York or 50 Cent, everybody, you know, there's a million pictures of 50 with a do-rag and a New York fitted hat on. Obviously being from St. Louis, Nelly and the St. Lunatics, literally wearing the STL hat every picture you saw them in, every award show that they was at.
70 years and counting. Through quality, craftsmanship, and originality, the New Era 59FIFTY continues to be the official cap of the MLB and beyond. The legacy continues.
The 59FIFTY story is incredible because of where it started and where it's gone to. It started as a humble on-field cap worn by baseball players just to keep the sun out of their eyes and to denote what team they were on.
At the heart of anything that's authentic is quality, craftsmanship, care, what goes into a product, pure love and passion that makes it more than the sum of its parts. And the New Era 59FIFTY is an absolute gold standard for cap making.
New Era is the culture when it comes to stamping and completing your outfit. You know, it's your crown. Again, I keep going back to it being your crown and that symbol, like that, whatever that symbol is, it represents something bigger.
I think the evolution for New Era is the fact that they're consistently trying to keep on the pulse of what's happening, finding new collaborators and finding new designers and finding new people to work with and finding new ideas, or trying to think of new ideas and new stories to tell in great ways, is what makes them still the one, beyond the fact that their hats are the best.
This is the standard. This is the hat that everyone's going to want to have. You know, every kid's looking at us out there on the field and they see the P on the hat, and you know, every kid in the stadium wants this hat because they want to be like that player on the field. It's unbelievable what they're doing, and you know, hopefully here's to another 70 years of them doing it, because they've done it right the whole time.
I mean, it's crazy, and because you know, in the last 20 years, you know, it's interesting. Like in 2022, my father passed away. You know, way too young, and it's really been the last 20 years when, you know, I remember talking to him, you know, when he was in the hospital, and talking about where we're going and how we're going to get there, and I remember one of the things he said to me was, he's like, well, it's going to be all yours now. Don't fuck it up.
I am CC Sabathia, and this is the 59FIFTY story.